I'm Cindy Palos. This is Talk Story, the longest running talk show in Maui, and I am so happy to have someone I've been wanting to talk to, and with the help of my friend Christine Wong and Fred Wong, I was able to get Craig Okita. Craig's here in studio, and you just had an amazing moment for the fourth year in a row. The Maui Senior Little League World Series became champions. World Series champions. And their ages ranged from what age to
15,
what age?
Well, the senior division is 13 through 16. But we had just 15 and 16-year-olds on this particular team.
So, and they went back and did a couple of games. You went to Sacramento first and then to South Carolina?
Yes, yeah. Well, we had to win our state to qualify here in the state. So we went to Kauai, played Kauai 2 games, won those 2 games, went to Sacramento, played against Wyoming first, Northern California, then Arizona, and then Northern California again in the championship game, and then moving on to South Carolina.
So this is so huge. It is so wonderful. And the thing is, these kids are really doing great. I mean, obviously, I don't even like to call them kids because it's, 15 years old, right? 15, 16. But, I mean, this is an amazing accomplishment, and it's the kind of thing that makes a difference in their lives, doesn't it?
Yes, definitely. These kids have been very fortunate. I always say that, and sometimes I think they haven't realized what they've accomplished.
Really?
There's a lot of teams that set out every year to try and get to the World Series.
Yeah.
Let alone win the World Series. So I think they'll somehow grasp the concept better later in their life. Right now they're young adults. They got other things on their mind, but it's definitely a great accomplishment.
But it's a huge amount of work. I mean, for everyone involved. I mean, obviously you as a coach, it's the second year you've coached them into winning the World Series. And the kids come from Baldwin High School. Most of them were Baldwin High, right?
Yeah, we have 16 kids on this team. 13 of them are from Baldwin. 2 are from Maui High and 1 from Kamehameha. And yes, there is a ton of work that goes into it. A lot of people don't realize the effort. There's a lot of sacrifices on, from the families and the players, along with the coaches, Coach Dean Yamashita and Shane Awai. And there's a lot of other coaches here on Maui who have helped guide these kids and put in tons of hours for these kids to get them to where they're at, to just give us a shot at winning. And so it's not something that happens overnight. It's definitely a process that has taken years. Some of these kids I've on this team, I've coached them since they were 6 years old.
Wow,
and
really?
yeah,
so they're part of the family.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
their fathers,
yes,
their mothers.
Yes, we have a very good baseball family, and everybody can flat out cook. So when we go on these trips, it's a big party, and it's.
You're not talking about cook in the terminology. You mean literally cook?
No, cook. I mean, we have these huge potlucks, and we're up there and we're eating hamburger steaks and all of this stuff, and we all get together with the kids, families, grandpa and grandma, and aunties and uncles, and we have a very good time on the days off. The days that we're not playing, we have these cookouts, and that's one thing that I'm really gonna miss, because these kids, now that they're 16, there's Little League ends at 16, so they don't have.
It.
Yeah, this would be the end of going
tough.
on these trips. Yeah, There's still high school, but high school you win the state tournament and that's it. You don't go on, but. It's been one hell of a ride. It has been many sacrifices along the way, but something I'll cherish for the rest of my life. And
well, you have a day job as well, and you just got appointed as a coach at Baldwin High School on top of that, and so. And thanks to Fred Wong and the company, you're able to, you took off 2 weeks, didn't you, to kind of accompany them on the road trip?
2.5, closer to 3 weeks, and yes, you said it. Thanks to the guys at Walker, which Fred and Will, who's allowed me to do this, and it is very important to me, and on what we try to accomplish, and I'm glad that they allow me to do it. I joke about it to other people and I say I hope I have a job when I get back. And so, but they've been excellent with that.
Well, but it's just a part of the overall what it takes, the dedication and time it takes. And, these children, grew up, you knew some of them since they were 6, and you see the hours they put in after school. The family, all making sure they get there and get home. And there's a lot of extra dedication and sacrifice that goes into making sure these kids get that opportunity.
Absolutely. Like I said earlier, you don't see the sacrifices. A lot of people don't see. They see us on TV in the championship game, and they see that 2.5 hour game. But there's a lot of sacrifices. There's a lot from everybody, and if you ask me if it's worth it, I'd say absolutely worth it. But it's your whole family sacrifice. It does for the players. Their mom, their dad, their sisters, their
and
siblings.
There's money involved.
Absolutely,
Wow.
There's a lot of money involved as well, and we've had tremendous support from our community. When we win these state tournaments and we advance, the cost. The cost to go to Sacramento was probably around $23,000.
Oh my gosh!
And that's something that we need to come up with within 2 weeks.
Wow!
So our league, Central Maui Little League, they helped us out quite a bit this year, and we went out and targeted businesses, and we got tremendous support. I am so very thankful. I
want to give a shout out to a couple.
I couldn't list them all, and I don't want to just take I don't want to do that. And I just recently sent them thank you letters and all of that. But for the guys listening, if you're listening, thank you very much. We really really appreciate it, and I'm forever grateful for your support.
And so are the kids, and because you can't ever take that away from them. That moment of winning is something, like you said, they were so into it they may not realize, but it is something they will remember. And for you and everyone after the game, how did they feel when they got that championship one more time?
Well, things happen so fast, and it's a blur. You're coaching. When you get an early lead in the game, it's like the game takes forever to finish, right? Because you're leading, and it's like just get over with. And when we got that insurance runs in that 6th inning, we got a bunch of runs in the 6th inning. You feel that, hey, this is going to happen, and it's just a matter of time to get that last out. But you still, you're squeezing as a coach. You're still, I've seen some things unravel in some games where we almost blew a 11-2 lead in Sacramento. We almost blew that lead, and so you're on the edge of your seat, but then you start to realize, hey, this is really gonna happen. Am I dreaming? And so when we got the final out, to see the kids celebrate the way they did,
and it was on TV.
It was on TV, and our kids don't necessarily show too much emotion. My wife tells me, she said from a young age, you've always curbed the boys to not celebrate. And
oh, really?
She scolded me about that, and I said, well, we just want them to be focused and not let their emotions get the best of them. And so. After this game, they jumped around quite a bit.
So what makes a winning team?
Well, there's to be a good baseball team, you need to be able to succeed in all aspects of the game: pitching, defense, and hitting, timely hitting. And we try to focus on preparing our kids the best that we can to prepare them to face what we expect. So if somebody's throwing really hard, we'll prepare for that. If somebody throws a lot of curveballs, we'll try to prepare for that. So there's a lot of strategy involved, but we try to focus on the fundamentals of baseball and really, pound that understanding the game, knowing when to do certain things, and really focus on those type of things. And it's not just grabbing a ball and throwing a ball and going out there and hitting the ball. There's a lot of little things that we have taught these kids, and I'm not saying that that's the reason. There's a whole bunch of reasons, but that's one of probably our foundations into our team.
Do you think it helped that a lot of these players have been playing together and knew each other really well and were able to have that teamwork because of that bonding that you say? You know, you cook together, you know, and a lot of them know each other, you know, and they've spent hours together, right?
Yeah, a lot of these kids have played with each other growing up as well. And so, you know, like I mentioned earlier, we have guys from Kamehameha and Maui High.
Yeah.
But once we get together, we all know we're here to represent Maui, the state of Hawaii. And so, you know, getting everybody to be on the same page was a breeze. You know, everybody bought in. You know, we talked about it, and from the first day, you know, we told the kids, I said, boys, if we play well, we will win. We'll win the whole thing. You know, if we don't play well, we will not win. We will be coming home. So, you know, from day one, for them to buy into that, and you know, at the end of the tournament, you know, you look at them and you see, you know, I'm sure there's a lot of kids on our team didn't think that we could win. You know, there's always that doubt, right? And so, it was nice to say those things and see it come true.
Did some of the players at 16 years old, they're going, I want to do this professionally. They ask for advice about if they could ever make this a way of a living out of it. It's so hard, but did any of them ask how they could keep it going?
Well, to make a living out of baseball is really, really hard.
Really
you know, Shane
hard,
Victorino's had a great career, you know, Kurt Suzuki as well. But, you know, there's a lot of good baseball players that have come out of Maui that didn't make it, you know, for one reason or another. And it's about timing. It's about, you know, getting that opportunity. You know, so nowadays, the way they recruit kids and do things, it's different than what it was before. You know, now they look at your bat speed, your arm strength, you know, your exit velocity of the ball off your bat. So they have these measurables that they like to focus on. And, you know, our kids on this particular team, you know, we didn't have any superstars, but we had 16 good baseball players. So, you know, it's hard. There's some kids on the other islands who, you know, is getting a lot of attention that they will be graduating this year. And there's a bunch that's going to be drafted. But, you know, as far as those measurables, you know, you need those things to get to the next level, I think. And, you know, I'm hoping a bunch of the kids on this team will get to college and will play in college. But getting to that next level is tough. And, you need to get those measurables up, and you need to get the breaks, you know, get opportunities.
And then as a coach, you know, you're also kind of like a father image and all that. And would you want that for your son? You have to kind of wonder, you know, would this be what I'd want my son to try to do, knowing how difficult it is and heartbreaking it also can be, right?
Yeah, it is. And, you know, my perspective on that is, you know, I'm not coaching to get kids to the major leagues. You know, that percentage is very, very small. And if that was my goal, then I'd fail most of the time. And, you know, so my philosophy and the other coaches at Baldwin and Coach Shane and Coach Dean Yamashita, who was on this trip with me, and is to give these kids the best opportunity, to give them a shot to go out there and compete and compete against, you know, kids that their age that are good, and they can see, you know, what they lack or where they stand, because just, you know, competition here on Maui can get stagnant. You know, you're playing the same guys over and over again. But again, our philosophy is, you know, to create these special moments, to create bonds with families, and to teach them the game of baseball. And, you know, it'll be up to them if they want to dedicate their life to it at the next level. Because these kids can't, you know, if they've sacrificed and put baseball first, you know, these kids, they can play in college, and you know, who knows what lies, you know, could happen after that. Nobody knows. You know,
it's so different now than it was many years ago, when there wasn't the distractions of phones and social media and computers and obviously with the hours they put in and what they had to do to make this a winning team and get that championship. They had to change their focus somewhat, didn't they?
You know, they still do that.
They still there on the field. They have their phones.
No. I mean, well, they have their phones. They're playing Fortnite. You know, it's just stuff that kids do. And you know, my own son is always playing Fortnite, and I keep telling him, I said, you're not going to get any better in baseball playing Fortnite. You're not going to get ahead in life playing Fortnite. You know, and and all these kids do that, and
Uh-huh.
so it's just they need to try and balance that, and it, it's up to them on what they want to do. If I feel if you dedicate your life to anything, you can accomplish it. And you might not succeed the first time, you might not succeed the second time, but if you keep at it and you focus and you put your best effort, I'm a strong believer that you can accomplish anything, and we try to instill that in the kids.
So, with you now taking the job as a Baldwin High School coach, you're able to stay with a lot of these, 13 of these players that would have then been out of the ability to play again, right? 13 of them, some of them are 16, and they can't play again, right, at 16.
Yeah, a bunch of these kids would not. This would be the end of their road for the baseball. But being given the opportunity at Baldwin, I hope to coach these kids for a few more years. So.
Well, everyone knows about Baldwin's football team.
Yeah.
There's a lot of emphasis on their football, right?
Well,
and there's the band. It's a good band, right? Baldwin High has a good band, right?
Well, hopefully, you'll get to say, well, Baldwin High has a good baseball team in the years to come. I mean, we will definitely put our best effort there with the coaching staff we have, with the guys we have in place, with the players we have. We lost some really good seniors last year, and they were, I cannot emphasize that enough. They were really, really good seniors. And so we have some holes to fill, but I'm looking forward to the competition this year. It'll be a tough race between all the schools. So, it should be a very competitive baseball season.
Did they finish that parking lot? Baldwin,
oh yes, they did. Yeah, they're working on it, and they just about finished, I believe. And in fact, we had some light bases to make at Walker, and I said, yeah, I better make sure we get these bases done, so I'm not the guy to blame if that parking lot is not open on the first day of school. So we got those out, but yeah, I think they're just about done.
And when does that start?
The school?
Baldwin, yeah.
Oh,
is it open?
It started already. Yeah.
Okay.
I think. My son reported to school last week.
Oh, he goes to Baldwin?
He goes to Baldwin. He's a senior. Yeah.
So what's it like having your son, and you're a coach, and he plays baseball too, huh?
Yeah, he plays baseball.
Is it hard on him?
Sometimes it's difficult. It's hard to have the coach and dad relationship. It is, but it's something that I'm willing to sacrifice. This is the last year I'll have to coach him. I've coached him since he was 5 with a bunch of these other kids. So this will be the last year, coaching him, and I just figure, that probably is the best thing to do, and just get out there and try to do the best I can in being a coach and a father.
So in this particular situation with this amazing run that's happened with the Maui Senior Little League World Series champions, this is the 4th year in a row. And did you see some of the team and the guys involved in this game? Did you see them change from the experience over the years? Some of them have done it for a few years. Have you seen changes in them? Because this is like you say, a lot of time and commitment. They get to know each other. Have you seen their kind of attitude and their focus change over the years?
Absolutely. We have some kids on these teams, this team who drive me nuts at times, and we try to, the coaches along with myself, try to steer them in the right direction. And I've seen them grow as people, and we always try to instill the Pono values and try to do what is right, do the right thing when no one is watching. And I know it's not easy for a 15-16-year-old, and so I get to see them grow up, and I get to see them make wrong decisions, and we sit down and we talk story, and try to figure out, hey, we cannot let this happen again. But that's, to me, that's one of the most rewarding parts, is where you get to see these kids grow up, and you get to be to have a big impact in their lives. I've seen that all along, and this, I'm going to miss this bunch, because like I said, they were from 5-6 years old till now, but it's something that later on in life I'll look back and say, my God, it's a great accomplishment. It's a great, we've developed good family friends along the way that you would never be able to create that bond anywhere else, or nowhere else that I'm aware of. So those are the things that is very satisfying.
how did they balance their having to do their homework, their schoolwork, and loving? I'm sure most of them love their baseball the most, right? And so how do you balance it? We really just care about baseball, but we got to go do our homework too, right?
Right. So, the high school season comes around, you got grade checks and all of that stuff, and we really preach that, and we're going to...
They have to fulfill certain qualifications.
Well, in high school, yes. Yeah. For this Little League team, you don't, so it's summertime, and the more we win, the longer we get to stay away and all of this stuff. So, but high school is a different animal. There's rules you need to follow. There's grade point averages, and there's different things that you need to fulfill to play. And it has gotten harder from when I was in high school. It was just 2.0 back in high school when I was in high school.
Really?
So you can get 3.5 and have an F in a required course, and you're not able to play. So there's some different things.
Anything slip.
Yeah. So it's tough on some of these kids, but we try to push that and try to help them along the way, because there's more to life than baseball. There definitely is. And I tell these guys all the time, baseball will end for all of us. Someday baseball will end. It ended for Shane Victorino. It'll end for Craig Suzuki. Some sooner than others. And then what happens after baseball? If baseball is all you know, how do you go out and be a good citizen in the community? How do you do that?
It's hard.
Yeah, what's your positive impact towards the community?
Did Shane ever come down and see them? Or
no, Shane didn't. He went to the 12-year-old, the Little League regional in San Bernardino. So those guys won, and they're in Williamsport, which is a great accomplishment. I know Brad Long and Randy Nakashima very, very well. Brandon Arcaw as well. I know him as well, and they've accomplished something great. I mean, they're the first team that I'm aware of from Maui to advance to Williamsport in the 12-year-old division.
Wow.
So they're going to play Friday against Louisiana, and everybody's looking
Is that
and watching
be televised?
Yes, it will be televised on ESPN. So
on ESPN Friday.
Yeah. So
time
excited
difference,
for them.
of course.
I think they play at 3:00 Hawaii time.
Okay.
I think so.
And that age group is in that team?
That's the 11 and 12s, and they have put in tremendous time and effort and sacrifice to get to where they're at. Because I know those coaches and those kids, they practice on the weekends, and they've I'm very, very happy for them, because they've put in a lot of work.
So when the kids, a lot of them, I assume, have not been to the mainland, I assume a lot of the ones that went on this trip, unless they did the other years, and some of them probably went and did the championship last year, right? But for some of them, is it like a whole new experience meeting these other kids in the rest of the country that they had never kind of... It's a different way of living on Maui, right?
It is definite. The food, they're all looking at me, Coach, this food doesn't taste too good. It's so it's just different. There's no flavor. They want to eat rice. So for some of them, the team that we had, the 15 and 16-year-olds, most of them have gone to the mainland. Like in younger ages, we would go and travel and do different things to prepare for those type of tournaments, because when you get out there for the first time, it's a shocker, right?
Yeah.
So you got to kind of break them in a little bit. So I think all of those kids on this team have been to the mainland more than once prior to this trip. So it wasn't something totally, shocking to them, but getting to see the dorm life, because we were staying at the Clemson dorms.
Wow.
Getting, you go in and you eat at the cafeteria. So that's another good point where, these kids will be in college in 2 to 3 years, and getting to see that is for the coaches, it's kind of boring up there. You got no TV. You're in your dorm room, and there's no. Well, there's a community TV, but so it was a good experience for all of us.
Well, it's a heartwarming story, and I have to say, there's been so much bad news, and I'm sure even the parents were nervous when you hear about all these things going on with the shootings on the mainland and everything. I mean, for the parents, it must be like, oh my gosh, they're not going to be out there with all this. You never know what's going to happen, right? Did a lot of the parents make the trip too?
We had a very good showing. Practically every kid was represented with their parents or grandparents or uncle or auntie. Like it's tremendous how much people we have there, and
actually came.
Yeah, like they try to buy the West jerseys, shirts and hats, and it's sold out within the first half an hour.
Really?
And it's so we travel very, very well, and it's again because of the camaraderie with everybody, just the connection and the bond we have with all the parents. It's such it's such a great time together that you wouldn't be able to accomplish any place else.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I just want to congratulate you, and I think it made the whole island feel really good. And I know it did me, and I know everyone was so proud of the work that you and the team and the whole group did. And, it just is a wonderful accomplishment, and it's so important for us not to forget it. Sometimes we forget about what's going on. And this draws the focus to, the commitment that you and the families and the kids involved had, and it's a source of pride for the whole island,
Yeah, we had a lot of, I had 78 texts as soon as the game was over. There's so much people watching in and buying in, and congratulating us, which is just a great feeling. I mean, it's something good for our community. It shows, that we're serious about baseball. There's kids dedicating their lives to it, and, who knows what the future holds.
Well, congratulations, and also congratulations on your new job. Maui High School?
Baldwin High School.
Baldwin High School coach.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes, and I mean that's gonna be, it's not gonna be easy for sure, and I'll do the best I can.
I think you'll do well. Yeah. Well, thank you, Craig. It's been wonderful, Craig Okita and your team, and here's to the next group, right?
Right. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming in. I really appreciate you taking the time to come in. A big aloha to you.
All right, thank you.